Now then, so, tell you something, it has been a while since I've made a video, and I feel like I owe sort of a little bit of an explanation just to as where I've been. You know, I've gone from literally putting a video out every single week for coming up to the past 2 years, and then, yeah, probably haven't done anything in 2 months or so. Just today, obviously, as you know, you are watching the newest video out, and hopefully it's going to be a good one. I am starting something brand new to the channel. There was a little sneak peek in the last video, but today we're going to be starting doing a little bit of work on this thing. But before any of that, where have I been? So if any of you do have your own YouTube channels, you know that filming a video, editing a video and getting one out, you know, is hard at the best of times. Trying to get one out a week is very hard, especially when you work full time. And you know, recently it's just caught up with me. It felt like a bit of a chore, and I just haven't been doing it really. I've just started a new job. I've just been on holiday. There's been a lot of stuff going on, birthdays and stuff on weekends, and that is the only free time that I've got to make these videos. But like I said, all that stuff is out of the way. I've got a couple of projects coming and some big news regarding the Audi, which isn't particularly good at the end of the video, but we'll come back to that later. And if you didn't watch the last video and you don't have any idea where I am, then this is obviously the latest clue. I'm of course in a camper van. And for everyone that did watch the last video and does already know about the camper van, here's a little bit of an explanation as to why all of a sudden a camper van has appeared on the channel, because it is pretty random. So there she is from the outside. It is a 1981 T25 Devon conversion, and it is a real nice bit of kit. But there is some issues with it, even though we've already fixed a load. But don't worry, we've got support. So a very brief backstory as to where the camper came from. Believe it or not, we've actually had this camper longer than the A3. Not quite as long as a Polo, but definitely longer than the A3. So that is coming up to about 2.5 years. We got this at the end of a year, probably December time, something like that. So it will be probably coming up 3 years in December. Now, when we got it, it was one of those sort of, well, it was your standard eBay auction. No reserve, put a bid in, stupidly low bid, and ended up winning it. And yeah, set off down to Wales somewhere to collect it. And that brings us to the present day. Obviously you can see right there it is a 4-berth, and yeah, it's had a lot of work done already. So originally when we got the van, all of this side was rusty. The arches were rusty, this arch was rusty, door was rusty. You may have seen a door in the container where the Polo is stored, and yeah, effectively this half of the van and the underneath of the van, all of the chassis has been completely restored, and it is looking all right. It's had all of this replaced, all the holes under there filled up, and it's even had a complete new sort of floor pan put underneath there, and that's just on this side. Round the front it's had all of this repaired with a new panel. It's had a full new grille, headlights, and all of this done as well. I will see if I can get any pictures of the restoration sort of as it was going. Onto the other side. Again, on this side, all of this door, all of the arch, there was holes randomly around the filler tank, and then all of this side has all had new panels put in, been repainted, rear arch, and all the way round to the rear where this bit has been done. There is still a couple of little bits to sort just down there, but absolutely everything on this van structure wise has been completed. Now it's just down to the little bits around the windows and tidying it up. And I know what you're thinking, that's great and all, you've got a camper, it's had a bit of restoration work done, but why has it never been on the channel? And there is one simple answer to that: it doesn't run. Which makes it about as useful as this thing, which is also sat there as a non-running project. But I reckon the camper van might be a little bit easier to try and get started. So that's what we're going to do today. So I do just want to pause the video there because I do actually have some thank yous to say. The first being to you guys for obviously watching and supporting the channel. If you aren't subscribed, make sure you are clicking that button to follow all of the different journeys with the cars on this channel. And the second one is to our first sponsor of the channel, which is VW Heritage. Now, if you haven't heard of Heritage Parts Centre, very simply, they do parts for all sorts of classic VWs, and more importantly for me, they now also do parts for Porsches, which you will see coming in a future video once we get back onto the 911. But yeah, effectively it does not matter which car you drive. It can be a T25 like this one here, the Beetle, a Polo like my Mark IIF, or a 911, amongst other things, fastbacks, Carman gears, anything you want classic VW, Heritage will supply the parts. So a huge thank you to them. Not only are they helping me with the channel, they're also helping you guys with a 10% off code using this code appearing just below me on the screen. So if you do need anything, head over to Heritage. I will drop the link in the description. Use my code below for some money off. Hopefully it will help you with your project and it will help me moving forward with the channel. So big shouts out to VW Heritage. Let's see if we can get this camper started. So I don't actually know what's wrong with the van apart from that it doesn't start. So today, hopefully, we're either going to get it running or figure out what's wrong with it and hopefully help us fix it in the future. Now, I know that this engine does run. It's not the original engine, but it is still air-cooled. It is a 2-litre Vega engine on twin carburetors. And if you didn't know, the engine on these is located in the rear. And that's what it looks like. You can see just there the warranty sticker, so it is a VEGE engine. Obviously meant to be quite a good little engine. It's been converted to an electronic fuel pump, which could be our issue today, and it is on twin Weber carbs. It has been running before, it has been set up by Bog Brothers. I know that everything should run, it just doesn't. First things first, this is the fuel line. I'm going to trace it back from the fuel pump all the way to the tank, see if we've got any blockages or anything like that, and take it from there. And the other thing that's really helpful to know is that if I pour some petrol down the carburetors, the van will start, it just will cut out, it won't hold it or anything like that, which is what's making me think this is probably going to be a fueling issue. So first things first, I'm just going to disconnect these hoses that go to the carburetors. There's a little T-piece there that splits into two. Disconnect them and see if we've got any fuel coming out. That is absolutely bone dry. I'm just going to go crank it over and just see if any fuel comes out of that. And the results are absolutely nothing. That is still bone dry. There's not even any sign of any fuel being in there recently. So you know me, I am by no means a mechanic. I don't particularly know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to problem solve using sort of simple techniques really. I'm totally new to air-cooled, even though I've owned one for sort of 10 years in the Beetle, but I've never particularly worked on one. So we are just problem solving. The first thing I've just realised is when I block off this little bit on the pipe and blow down this one, I don't seem to be able to blow air back into the tank, which makes me think that this has got some sort of butterfly valve on. This is obviously the fuel pump, so it comes in here and then it comes out here into a T-piece and to the two carburetors. So this must have some sort of, either it's blocked or it has got some sort of one-way valve in it. So that's the first thing that I'm going to check. I might take the inlet out, blow down that and see if I can get some air bubbles in the tank, see if that does anything, and yeah, go from there. So like I said before, this is obviously the inlet that comes from there. Now you will notice, you may just be able to hear, when I blow on that, you can hear the air bubbles going in the tank. So that is absolutely clear. And when I blow on the inlet to the pump, you can see the air is coming out the ends of the outlets. It should go to the carburetor. So that is making me start to question this fuel pump, whether there's some sort of air leak or anything like that, or whether it's just completely past its best. So there is a couple of screws on it. Like I said, I'm just gonna go the basics first. I'm just gonna tighten up all these screws, make sure it's all screwed down as tight as it can be, and yeah, we'll give it a go. So all back together, we've got the fuel line coming in here. I've made sure that everything is tight on the fuel pump just to make sure. So inlet tight, outlet tight, goes into this T-piece. I have just blocked this shorter cable off. Yeah, just with an Allen key, just so nothing spills out of there. And then hopefully this one is gonna get some fuel now. So I'm gonna reset up the old fuel cam and see if we get any fuel. Now, the only thing that I am a little bit curious about is that no fuel is coming out of either of those hoses, but I can smell it. it smells like fuel, and there's no other, as far as I'm aware, there is no other fuel lines in this sort of area. So yeah, I might just double check the inlet all the way back to the fuel filter and then the tank and see if there's some sort of leak. So let's do that. So if we come around the side of the van, I don't know how well you can see, but this here, that is the fuel filter. So I think the next thing we're going to do is undo it here, see if fuel's getting through this fuel filter at all. I do have a new one to put in, so I could put a new one of these in if that is blocked. But yeah, I'm slowly running out of ideas, so let's change that. So as you probably saw there, I just got drenched in petrol, which, although it wasn't ideal, now I know that at least fuel is coming through the filter. Gravity is playing its part and it is pulling the fuel through. There's definitely fuel in the tank, I know that. I've just put some in. But yeah, I'm pretty much out of ideas now. So the only thing I can think to do is connect up the fuel lines. Now that I've tightened everything up, connect the fuel lines back to the carburetors and see if turning the engine over just helps suck it through. It might be a case that the fuel pump is just coming towards the end of its life, so it might just need that little bit of helping hand with a bit of pull from the engine. I don't know if that's how it works, but that is what I'm going to do. So I'll get everything connected back up together, prime the fuel pump, hopefully we get something, and yeah, let's see if we can get this started. I've been in your waters. Right, fuel pump priming. It's making some funny noises. Right, here we go. The fuel pump is just making too many different noises. It's not looking good. So I don't know if these sorts of things can get airlocked or anything like that, but that seems to be making a lot of funny noises. So as a little bit of a last resort, I'm just going to take the air filters off, pour a little bit of fuel into the carburetors and just see if getting the engine running like that, because it will, I'm fairly sure it will run like that, if I turn it over with a bit of fuel in the carburetors, get a spark, and then hopefully that's enough just to pull a bit of fuel through. It must just be either air getting in somewhere or a bad fuel pump that is just not powerful enough. But we'll put a bit of fuel down the carburetors and see where we get to. Right, it's crunch time. We've got some fuel in the carburetors. This is my last hope. I don't know what to do further than this. So hopefully, I know it'll turn over, but hopefully it will stay running. Here we go. That pump just can't keep up. Something. I just don't know what it is. Oh. It's so close. I'm out of ideas. I'm actually out of ideas.
A few moments later.
I found the problem. So I'll show you. It's going to be dark underneath the bus, but there's a little bit of fuel line that is just absolutely soaked in petrol. Now, it is only dripping slowly, and as soon as it drips, it's evaporating, which is why I can't see any of the fuel sort of like underneath it. But I think it must just be pulling air in through there. So I'm gonna take a bit of fuel line off, go get some more, and hopefully that is going to fix the issue, but I'll show you where it is first. Okay, so we have the old fuel line off. As you can see, it is quite a decent length, and what I've done is I've pulled it through with a bit of rope, so that goes all the way through to the other side of the van where the fuel filter and the fuel tank is. So hopefully when I do it in reverse, I should just be able to pull it through, and it should make it very easy. So yeah, we'll get some new fuel line. We'll obviously change the fuel filter for a new one. It is a nice little Bosch one, this, but it's probably past its best anyway. So I'll come back when I've got some fuel line, and hopefully we can get this van started.
Hi.
Okay, so we are back another day on the camper van, and I've now got some fuel line. So Lauren is just... What are you doing?
Trying to get into this fuel line.
Trying to get into the fuel line. So basically, we've got the old bit, we've got the new fuel line, and we're just going to mirror. Lauren's going to cut a piece that's exactly the right length. Obviously, as you saw a couple of seconds ago, I have left a little bit of rope just down there, so I should be able to just pull it all the way through, get it connected up to the carbs, and yeah, we should be on to a winner. So I'll quickly get the fuel line pulled through, connected up, and we'll see if this thing starts once and for all. Are you hopeful?
Yeah, as long as I can get into this.
You're struggling?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to cut my fingers off here if you don't help me.
Yeah, I'll give you help. Right, see you soon. Right, this is it. The fuel line is in. The pump seems to have primed itself, so I'm hoping this could be it now. Let's give it one more prime just in case. Has it stopped making a noise? Hey! And just like that, the camper is on the road, and me and Lauren are on the way to VW Festival. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully it's been a little bit of an insight into a new van sort of coming to the channel. I don't know how much content there will be on this, but I just thought it was worth filming because it is something different, and I'm sure there's people interested in old air-cooled VWs on YouTube. There is plenty of content out there on air-cooleds, so I thought I'd just put my 2 pence in and see if we could get this van running, which we have successfully, and it starts on the key, which is always great. So hopefully you've enjoyed something different. If you have, please make sure that you are subscribing to the channel, give us a big thumbs up, drop a comment down below what sort of content you want coming on the channel in the future, and in the meantime, hope you're all doing well. Hopefully there's more content coming very soon, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.